Now, there's a grand tradition of storytelling all across this land. It's steeped into legends that date back as far as the Iron Age. David has come to the outskirts of Armagh, to a place called Navan Fort, to hear some of the epic tales of ancient heroes known as the Ulster Cycle. The Armagh Rhymers are a band of performers who retell these centuries-old stories to new generations. David's here to meet author Réamonn ó Ciaráin, who can explain why this place is so important in these founding myths of the people of Ulster.
We've travelled back in time, around the time of Christ, when Navan here was a very significant site. Navan Fort, as it's now known, was where the kings of Ulster held court.
Such was the importance of Navan as a ceremonial site that it was recorded on the maps of the 2nd century Greek geographer Ptolemy.
Navan comes from the Gaelic word for twins, the twins of Maha, a goddess of fertility, representing sovereignty of the very land. She became pregnant and her husband began to boast about his wonderful wife who could outrun the king's horses. And the king, Conor MacNeasa, said, "Bring her here." She was made to run against the king's horses. And unfortunately, being heavily pregnant, she gave birth to twins and she let out a heart-rending scream that can sometimes still be heard, it is said. And she cursed that the men of Ulster would have the pangs of childbirth when they most needed their strength.
The story of Maha, who also gives her name to the city of Armagh, is one of 80 in the cycle. Tales of romance, great feasts, cattle raids and heroic battles, all centred around the court here at Navan.
Quite a mystical, magical, spiritual place then.
Absolutely. You really get a sense that you are entering a significant place, a spiritual home, very important from an archaeological point of view, but more importantly, that it is central to our mythological stories.
The main hero of these stories is the warrior Cuchulainn, Ireland's equivalent of Achilles. Many versions of his exploits have been penned, including one by Réamonn himself. But the earliest written record of the cycle goes back to the monasteries of the 12th century.
The Druids would have converted to Christianity, but still held a great love for their native tales. When they got a little tired of their scriptural work, I imagine, they would have recorded the tales that their ancestors would have told, and that's the reason that we have these tales in written form to this very day.
So how then would you sum up the Ulster cycle?
They've already been told for a millennium and a half, and they have inspired revolutionaries, artists, poets, and they will continue to do so.
A fundamental part of the culture of Ulster.
For sure. Part of our cultural fabric. These stories say a great deal about who we are as a people here in Ulster.
Eagle conquered wrong has died for him. Tawdry poise.
These mythical tales will continue to be told if our troupe of rhymers has anything to say about it. And we just happen to know of a strolling player who can swell their ranks. Crikey.
Here come I, David, who's never come yet, with big head and little wit.
Yes, it's a sentiment many of us have known for years.